Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're listening to Lilia Tarawa, the show for entrepreneurs, coaches. I fucked that up. Oh, that's so funny. It's kind of irrelevant because this episode, we're going to be talking about perfectionism. So look, let me roll this back and try that intro again because I totally just completely wrecked that one. Now it's just too funny. But anyway. You are listening to Brand Breakers, the show for entrepreneurs, coaches, and creatives who refuse to stay small. I'm your host, Lilia Tarawa, TEDx speaker and #1 best-selling author. I turned my truth into a global brand, and now I help changemakers like you turn your story into stages, clients, and content that gets you seen, paid, and in demand. So, if you're done playing by someone else's rules and you're ready to build a bold, bankable brand that shatters the rules and feels like you're in the right place. So let's get into it. Here's a bold truth. Perfection doesn't sell. Perfection makes people scroll past. What sells is relatability. And this is really resonating for me this week because I just got off a call with a coach who said that when a brand looks too polished, she wonders what they're hiding. And there was another coach who said, if someone is too obsessed with being perfect, she assumes they've got like mindset blocks holding them back from being raw and real. This hits home so real, right? Because I love having everything perfect. My brain is just like so happy when everything is neat and structured and in order. But I think growing up with 10 brothers and sisters really made me kind of realize that things are not going to go as planned. Like, come on, imagine a wedding and you've got like 10 siblings there, all with their own drama, all with their own big families. Like, it never goes as planned, right? So I've really had to learn to adapt and to go, okay, it's okay for everything not to be perfect. And I think a lot of that perfectionism absolutely just comes from growing up and not feeling good enough and thinking, if I do better, then I'll be accepted, then I'll be loved. And I think that's a trap a lot of us fall into. And it's something that as an adult, I've really gone, no, I'm good enough and I'm enough and I don't have to do more to earn love. Love is not earned, it's just given. And so that's been a big lesson for me. So when it comes to branding, here's the ultimate takeaway. Like looking too perfect just kills trust. And if you've been hiding behind like polished posts or curated feeds or like overly professional branding, which happens a lot in the corporate world, like you're leaving serious money on the table. And I'll jump into why that is. So here's the viewpoint. Perfection repels, relatability sells. I'm going to say that again so it lands in your bones. Perfection repels, relatability sells. Perfect is forgettable and relatable is bankable. And I think the very best example that I can give of this is my TEDx talk. So I was a full blubbering mess on the TEDx stage. Like, I really didn't want to cry when I did my talk. And I had practiced and practiced and practiced. I'd taken a red hoodie and put it on my floor and stood on it because I was imagining myself in that environment. I was practicing in front of the mirror at home and I wanted everything to be perfect. And funnily enough, I think that I might have thought, I hope I don't cry. But in the moment, like crying just felt so natural to me because I was recounting a story of like severe high control religious abuse and like experiences that were so incredibly traumatic to me that there was just no way that my body wasn't going to like start grieving and feeling that. And I was sharing it with a big audience on stage and I just like let that happen. And I truly feel That's the reason, like, there's a lot of people who might say, you should never cry in a talk or anything like that. And I just totally disagree with that. I think that when you can show the audience how human you are, and you can really, like, when they feel those emotions coming from you when you're sharing your story, when you're talking about your brand, because let's be honest, most of you are so fucking passionate about your brands and you're building them for a reason, because you want to have an impact in the world and you want to make a difference. Like, if you can really push that feeling through all of your marketing, people will get that. And they will feel your authenticity and your realness. And that's not actually something you can fake. Like, I think these days we're pretty good, like, at having a bullshit radar and going, no, that person's a total fake. Like, there's always just something that just feels a little bit misaligned. But, I'm a big believer that perfect is forgettable, relatable is bankable. Relatable is what's going to get you the eyes. It's what's going to draw your audience in. It's going to build that heart-to-heart connection, which I'm so big on. So, yeah. I was thinking, I see this perfectionism thing all the time. Like, women are exhausted trying to look like they've got it all together, like perfect photos, perfect captions, perfect hair, perfect nails, perfect lives, perfect teeth. Like, and do you know what? Like, I'm into all that shit. Like, fuck girl, if your nails are a fire, like, I'm here for it. If your hair is hot, I'm here for it. Like, I love that stuff. So I'm not saying that we can't look good and we can't be, fussy about things. I'm just talking about when it becomes so obsessive that we forget to live around it. And so you see all these women trying to create these perfect lives, but in their brands, they're still undercharging. They're still invisible. And meanwhile, you're sitting there watching someone with half your skill land clients and stages and book deals. And it stings because, like, you have it in you. You were born to do this. You know how good you are, right? But if you can't translate that to the market, and if you can't help the market see and understand your value, well, then you're just swimming in the ocean trying to find land. So what you really have to do is let out some of that raw vulnerability. And I know sometimes that's been a little bit, I think, bashed too much to, like, being vulnerable. Like, hello, I have been the most vulnerable. Like, I've told people about my life in a cult, right? So, and that is a deep look into, like, my personal life, right? But I didn't tell all my stories. And I think that sometimes people think, oh, well, if I'm being vulnerable, I have to tell everything. No, you don't. You only need to tell the stories that truly resonate with your clients and the stories that are going to help them with the problems and the challenges that they're facing. Those are the only stories that you need to be sharing with your clients. You know that I'm a #1 best-selling author. Oh my gosh, I have the best story for you, right? Like, I can't believe this happened today. Like, I'll be real with you. I look at my book, Daughter of Gloriavale. I look at it now, and it's not exactly where I want to be as a writer. So today, a couple of our friends came over and they brought their dad over and their little baby. And I'd promised that I was going to give them a signed copy of my book. So I signed it up, ran out the door and gave it to them. They were super excited. And, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, God, they probably won't even like it. It's not that good. It's a #1 bestseller. Like, I have, like, literally thousands and thousands of messages of people saying, oh my God, I locked myself in my room for 3 days and didn't leave because I couldn't put your book down. Like, I haven't read books for, like, years and years. This is the first book I've read and it was insane. Like, I have these reviews, right? And I'm thinking in the back of my head when I'm giving and sharing a gift with my friends, I'm thinking, oh, it's probably not good enough. Like, what the fuck? Like, that is just, I just can't even. Like, and I think that is the whole crux of this perfectionism thing, It's about us thinking that no matter what we do, it's never going to be good enough. And what I really, really am encouraging you is like, just to know that where you're at right now and what you've done, like the project that you're working on right now, like it's enough. And it doesn't have to be more perfected before you show the world. You know, sometimes, I mean, some of the biggest names like Gary Vaynerchuk and that in business, they're saying just document the process. It's the behind the scenes. And that's why we love behind the scenes, because it's so raw and real, and you actually get to look at the reality instead of the polished perfection. So, you know, my approach that I'm taking now when I'm giving out books, and I'm just thinking, you know what, that's fine. If it might not be where I want to be as a writer, like right now, but at least I wrote the fucking thing, you know, at least I did it. So, you know, looking back, there's lots of things I'd change, and it wasn't perfect, but it was raw and it was real. And that's why people resonated with it. And it helped me to learn, and it was a stepping stone in my journey. I refined it enough to make it solid, and I just didn't get stuck in the endless cycle of perfection. And I truly think that that is one of the reasons why I was able to write my book in 3 months. Like, people literally spend years and years and years writing books. But 3 months, it is doable for you to just smash a book out in 3 months. And, you know, as I said, I have a bit of an issue with perfectionism. So if anyone knows how easy it is to get trapped in the like refinement cycle, it's me. But the moment everything shifted is like when I just realized that I didn't have to get it perfect. Like, I can just tell my sort of messy, unpolished story of growing up in a cult, pick the stories that I really believe people are going to love to hear and the things they most want to learn. And, you know, I did refine. It doesn't mean you don't refine. It doesn't mean you don't practice and make sure that your signature book, your talks, your coaching are excellent. It means you don't let perfection stop you from moving forward and taking action, because that story is what landed me on this TEDx stage, not because it was perfect, but because it was human. People don't buy polished, they buy people. And clients invest when they feel seen, not when they're impressed. I mean, ideally you would impress them and they would see you too, but you know, it's about them, not about you. And that's why people buy, because they need something and you can help them with it. So think about it. You don't cry watching someone's perfect highlight reel. You cry when someone shares a moment that feels like yours. That's connection, and connection in personal branding equals cash. So how do you actually use relatability in your brands, like on a day-to-day basis? So let's break it down. Let's say today you would go to your content and you would look at you'll find one of your perfect posts. And this week you would replace it with something real. Like literally you can do this right now as you're listening to the episode. So instead of this perfect post that looks so perfect and looks like you should buy from it, instead you're going to share a messy backstory, or like a lesson that you learned the hard way, or the moment you like almost gave up and the win you had at the end. And then you're going to repost that same post with this new story in it. And you just watch what happens with your followers. And, you know, I want you to message me and tell me, look, like, here's the perfect one and here's the new one. You tell me which one actually has like the most engagement from people. And so then another way, so number 2 would be for you to use Me Too moments. And this is why the Me Too movement like really worked. It was all about that human connection of going like, you know, I've experienced this as well. So instead of you teaching from a pedestal, like you fucking know everything, share the story that makes your listener nod and say, she gets me, like he gets me. They understand it. So share that story. Think about what that story is for you. And number 3, I want you to flip a weakness into a strength. So every story that you feel like disqualifies you as a writer, as a speaker, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, as a creator, make a list of those. Those are the ones that qualify you, because that is the forging of who you have become today. That's the person who can help your clients because of all the lessons that you have learned along the way. Those are the stories that your clients need to hear. Like, that is you just mining gold from your story. So you're going to take those stories and then you're just going to sprinkle them throughout your posts, because that's what clients really, that's what they need to hear. Okay. We're getting through this. I feel like I'm rambling a little bit, but oh well. So let me bring this home. The goal, the aim, the overall is to stop spending energy looking perfect and start spending that energy being human, because perfect is forgettable. No one gives a shit. But relatable, unforgettable, and will make you rich. Perfect is forgettable. Relatable is bankable. Now, if you want to deep dive into this and you're ready to apply it to your brand and you're like, fuck yes, every single thing this bitch said, and you want to talk about what that looks like for you, you can book a call with me. Best way is to DM me podcast on Instagram. My handle is Lilia Tarawa, and it's kind of difficult to spell. Well, at least I think it's difficult to spell, so I'll spell it out for you. It's LILIATARAWA. So we're going to have a talk about, how to make your brand look so irresistible to your clients that you're in demand, you get paid, you're landing those big stages, you're publishing #1 best-selling books. That is the goal, right? So DM me podcast on Instagram at Lilia Tarawa. And thank you, all my loves, for listening. I finished my podcast. It's pretty late, actually. What's the time? Oh, my partner's he just got home and he's trying to walk around the house and do stuff. And I have taken over the lounge room as my home studio. Kisses. Love you.